Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Monday, September 26th, a little after 3 p.m. Eastern, 2022. You know when you're being led, by ego mind, when you can't see God in all things. Not a negative. It's what a lot of us, where we're at. Then that means we can't see God at all. Or feel. And it's no wonder, because we've been so conditioned in this outside, this matrix, this material physical world. We are also deeply consumed in this world every day. And the moment we open our eyes in the morning, the good old mind kicks in, and we are flooded with all sorts of beliefs, emotions, desires. It's pretty darn easy in this day and age to feel overloaded. Some people right now in this very moment are lost or confused. And we're constantly dealing with a massive amount of information and social pressure every day. Pressure with finances, relationships, love life, family, work, health problems are all at the foundation. And then there's our newly found technological relationships, right? That we add in there with the cell phone, internet, texting. We may spend half our day just trying to figure out how to get through it intact or alive. I think some of us remember, right, when it wasn't anything like this. But this technological relationships that we have, and the technological era we are in, it is captivating, and that we could easily miss out on the connection with our amazing spiritual existence. It's diverting. It's distracting. But we play in it. We play in it. We are not it, but we play in it. Now, imagine and feel what would happen if we were surrounded every day by people whose only interest was in achieving enlightenment. This world would be a very, very, very different place. Yet they're divine and enlightened nature, right? Yet we have chosen a planet where everyone is still deeply asleep to their divine enlightened nature. In fact, we are also asleep that we don't even know that we are asleep. Isn't that amazing? Every human being is sleepwalking through this life. Now, I'm not saying that. Some people, they believe that they're awake, but yet there's layers of being awake. And this means that we are always plugged into the mind. The veil is so thick and the pattern is so deep that we need to use everything we've got to wake up. This means using everything we can find outside of us and inside of us. Use both. Using everything we can to find outside of us and inside of us. Use this week, use everything around you to find God. Use every conversation as a vehicle to listen to the divine. Use all your senses everywhere you go. Touch, taste, feel, hear, and even breathe. And the smell. Breathe in the smell of the divine. Use every moment of your free time to find deep silence, stillness, and inner peace. So you can connect deeper with the divine. Use the media and all that excessive advertising that is constantly dumped on you to find God. When you read something that jumps out at you, try to notice how its spiritual message is just for you. When you feel like you might be making some form of connection to God, breathe that feeling deeply into your body. Stop everything. Give this experience all that you've got, because it might not last long. Notice how the feeling resonates with what's going on in your life. Find the practical aspects, like, how does this simple billboard advertisement give me the deepest guidance I'm needing in my relationships right now? Because we all know there are no coincidences. There never have been. It is a word that this civilization created to explain things away that we don't understand. God is always around all of us. We only have synchronicity in this life. Everything is perfect and divinely aligned. The God source never, ever makes mistakes. When we are 100% devoted to finding total alignment with the divine in everything around us, the magic will its way into you. There's a few things about the spiritual awakening process that is certain. Even when you want access to the most amazing spiritual experiences in this life, it is going to take everything you've got. The enlightened state is definitely not like anything you've experienced before. There are no more problems in your life anymore, period. There are only deeper and deeper connections with the divine. Enlightenment is not for the half-assed skeptical seeker, the protective pessimist, or the mind addict that is super smart intellectual. It's for that ordinary, would you say, or just it's for that being who has devoted their entire heart and soul to something beyond this world. It's for that simple soul who wants to create the deepest, healthiest relationship with themselves and the God source. The biggest difference of all, perhaps, is that their connection with God is their highest priority all throughout the day. And understand, we're not talking religion at all here, period. Nothing to do with religion. The biggest difference of all, perhaps, is that their connection with God is their highest priority all day long. So, are we open to exploring our connection with the divine, even this week? Chances are that you're probably wondering, what's the right way, how to do it? Or are feeling hesitant, reluctant, or thinking that maybe this week is not the right time. There will always be super important things which we need to do. Yet the reality is that our souls have been waiting for real spiritual liberation for lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes. We have been preparing for a profound spiritual experience forever. We are here let go of everything and find our real connection to the divine again. We've been learning major life lessons after major life lessons after major life lessons, tilling the hard, tough inner soil inside us, just so that one day our souls could find some higher enlightened state of being. We entered these bodies, some call that born, okay, to find some way home to ourselves, so that our minds are always free from all fear, resistance, stagnation, and separation. The enlightened mindset just happens when we return to the pure source of awareness that is behind the mind. When we discover the awareness behind every thought that we're thinking, we come closer to the most sacred intelligence in this universe. This is who we truly are. The most sacred intelligence in this universe. This is who we truly are. The funny thing is that there is only one tiny thing stopping us from seeing, feeling, and knowing that God is here now. You are here now. This is your own mind. The mind is so full of personal beliefs and ideas from other people's thoughts about this life that there's not much room for anything else. It is overflowing so much that we have become blind to the gods that we are. That's why it is to be prudent. Watch out for the mind. It is the only thing stopping us right now. Right in this moment. It is the only thing stopping us. Try something this week. The next time you are in front of a mirror, look non-judgmentally. I know that's hard for a lot of people. A lot of people won't look in the mirror. They won't look at themselves, see? But look non-judgmentally into the mirror. And notice, what do you see? Okay? Do you see how amazing, multidimensional, and extremely beautiful you truly are? Or do you see all of your flaws and shortcomings? If the mind is not set aside, we can only see and hear what it thinks is good and bad. The mind can be extremely judgmental, as we all know, and this is pure entertainment for the ego. We deplore being bored, so we cling to all sorts of opinions about right and wrong. As long as we are over-identified with and attached to opinions of good and bad, we cannot spiritually awaken. Just remember that all of this life is a grand play, and the nature of the mind is to create contrast and comparisons. The mind doesn't like the gray middle path. When the mind is too empty, it seeks something juicy to fill it. So, we let go of filling up the mind and find the spiritual being that we are. This is in silence and stillness within. Interestingly, the heart is not judgmental at all. At all, at all. The heart only loves, accepts, and embraces what is. So don't trust the mind. Trust your heart instead. Be free of the mind and just remain in the heart. You will soon, in time, find the divine. No ifs, ands, buts about it. And this is a miracle. The moment that we realize that there is no way to make a home, then this whole existence is home. Then wherever you are, you are at home, A Course in Miracles. The God that we all are is the home. That which is housed within this body. Every day we get lost in a sea of duality. The pendulum is going to swing back and forth from being lost to being found again and again and again. Our minds are not the only minds out there that are making a living hell or heaven out of each moment. Everyone is doing this. We are all blind to the divine. We simply choose to learn how to release all attachments, trust in God, and surrender to its totality. Now, when we take this risk to dissolve back into the source, in each moment, we naturally discover how everything around us is helping and guiding us to be free. The good and positive news is that we've got 1 billion more lifetimes to become enlightened. And God is never, ever going to stop loving us. Now, the low-end news is that if it's postponed, right, we will miss out on the 1,000 opportunities heading our way today. There really is no end to this journey. We don't die when we die. So truly, there is nothing to be concerned about. When we realize we are an external, eternal being, what's there to be worried or fearful about? And this is a twist, if you will, for most of us, that why do we worry about that? We don't die when we die. There's nothing to be concerned about. We are eternal beings. What's there really to be worried or fearful about? We are an infinite journey. We are always safe and on the right path. We've made it this far. And we are still very conscious and deeply sensitive beings. This is a very good sign. This is real interesting to understand. Dale Carnegie made this statement a long time ago. You can conquer almost any fear if you will only make up your mind to do so. For remember, fear doesn't exist anywhere except in the mind. Nowhere except in the mind. Now, your ego might say, you don't need to keep talking about this stuff. You don't need to keep thinking about all this stuff. It's just really, it's not important. Too redundant. Come on over here with me. Let's stay in yesterday and tomorrow and everything will be fine. More and more of us are discovering that those are the two places we dare not go. Yesterday and tomorrow. Those are the two places we dare not go. Now, obviously, so many lifetimes we have had. I think we know, inherently know, those are the two places we don't care to go. Those are the places where we suffer. And this is the number one power of lower dark matter frequencies over all of us. Fear. How many times have any of us been stopped dead in our tracks because of fear? How does all of this, now imagine you're stepped out of you're not in the ego mind. And you're just watching. You're not judging, you're not commenting, you're watching everything. And you see what fear has, what it does to the planet and to the people of the planet. Where would we all be today if we were fearless and unstoppable? What dreams would we have manifested? Now, fear is the most debilitating energy that we could have on this planet that we all face on a daily basis. And it can create a mountain out of a molehill. By learning how to transcend your fears, you can open up doors to success in areas of your life you never imagined were possible. Knowing the secret to being fearless is when you will start living your dreams and having the life you truly desire. And it's an emotional response with all of us, you know. It happens when we imagine or believe that something is going to harm us in some way. It happens when we imagine or believe that something is going to harm us in some way. Now, fear can also be healthy when it provides the valuable service of keeping us safe from physical dangers, such as a hungry mountain lion, or stepping in front of a high-speeding truck, train, bus. It activates our adrenaline glands so that we can fight or take flight. Fear does not have its place in this wildly active world we live in, and thus does keep us alive. It does have its place, and it does keep us alive. However, fear is more often a life-defeating energy when we overreact to situations and experiences that hold no real danger. For instance, and this is really true, and I used to help people talk in front of groups of people. And the greatest fear people have is giving a speech to a large crowd in public. And really, nothing is going to physically harm or kill the person while they are speaking. Yet the fear comes from being judged, disapproved of, and unloved. In fact, giving a speech about something you're passionate about can be the most exciting activity of your week. When you learn to see that your fear is just excitement in disguise, you can turn the most challenging situation into an event you'll want to repeat again and again. Now, some people go, oh, I know all this stuff. I've known it for years. Know all about fear. False evidence appearing real, all that. Know it all. But yet, they are gripped by fear. Now, whether we know it or not, we all have active imaginations. For instance, have you ever been home alone at night and begun to strain your ears for strange noises and imagine something hideous was lurking behind your curtains? If you then confronted your fear by turning on the light, moving the curtain to see a scared mouse scurrying away, you would be relieved and your monstrous thoughts would magically disappear. Once you see the reality of any situation, you realize that you never had anything to fear to begin with. So fear only has power over you if you do not face it. The moment you confront your fear and discover the truth, you are freed up inside and magically overcome it. Breaking through all the fears in your life is simple. Simply realize the truth of who you are. Look deep down inside yourself and see that you are an infinite being, a soul who can never ever die or be hurt by anything of this world. And realize you have been around for an eternity and will continue for eternity. And there is nothing that can truly harm you nor change this divine truth about what you really are. To conquer all the fears in your life, all it takes is realizing this truth and living it. When we face our fears with this knowledge inside, there is nothing we can possibly be afraid of. Think of all the things through your life. Today, in this now, what you fear. And a lot of us, the majority of us, don't turn and hug the fear. We ignore it. We keep, it's going to go away, it'll go away, it'll go away, it'll go away. And it's amazing what happens when you make a list. And don't be shy with yourself. Make a list of all your fears. And some of the most common fears are fear of public speaking, fear of rejection by a loved one, fear of strangers, meeting someone new, fear of being killed, making a mistake, doing something wrong, fear of wealth, fear of poverty, fear of happiness, fear of sadness, fear of knowing, fear of not knowing. Be very specific about what it is that you truly are afraid of. Do not leave out any details. After you've made your list, look it over and prioritize it from the most fearful to the least. Now, determine how much pain these fears are causing you in your life. Now, you could do this a couple ways. You could draw a line down the center and, list your fears. And then you can write down on the back of the paper the answers to the following questions. What am I missing out on in this life because of these fears? What will my life look like if I continue to operate from these fears? What negative consequences could occur in the future if I continue to let fear control my life? Then begin to establish the benefits of overcoming your fears. Take out a separate piece of paper. Write down the answers to these questions. What could I create once I overcome these fears? How will my life be better once these fears are no longer real for me? What would I do, accomplish, or experience once these fears are absent from my life? The key, the real discovery to eliminate garbage in our lives, fears, anxieties, stresses, worries, embrace them. The key to moving through any fear is to dive into the fearful feeling and realize the truth of who you are that is beneath it. This one simple technique alone has creating amazingly fast and enormous shifts in many of our lives. We suggest that you do this exercise in a quiet place where you will not be disturbed. Sit back in a chair, close your eyes, imagine that one of your fears on your list is happening to you, right? The worst possible thing that could happen is happening. And let yourself truly feel what it'd be like to be in the situation once you are feeling the fear in your body. Remain in the center of the fearful feeling. Stay there and let it get stronger and bigger until you reach its maximum peak. Remain at the peak and breathe into this experience as long as you can. Don't get freaked out and bail out early. It is not real. It is all happening in your mind. Stay in the strongest feeling of fear until it naturally becomes smaller and weaker on its own accord and then fades away. Once you fully allow yourself to feel all aspects of this fear inside you, something will naturally move you beyond the fear and into a peaceful feeling. When you find this place, you'll be done with that fear forever. It cannot return the same once you experience this natural release inside. There will be a deep stillness, emptiness, and silence when it is truly gone. Any ideas you have about your fear will seem like an old dream that has no real emotion attached to it. If the fearful energy tries to return, welcome it and refocus on the stillness, emptiness, and silence inside. From this silent space, it is easy to realize the truth that you are an infinite divine being of consciousness that cannot ever be harmed. Now, if your fear is strong and you've had it for years, you may want to get some support around this process and do it with a trained professional or good friend. Yet it is usually much more powerful to do this process alone and in the dark. since it can help you bring up even more fear inside. Face your fears, and you'll feel free with your life. Do this exercise by yourself, and you'll establish the confidence that you yourself conquered your fear. After you're done with one fear, go back through your list of fears and embrace them all. Every fear on your list is a gift. Since your true divine infinite nature is found within each one, master your thoughts. When you begin to realize that your attention is out there, right? It usually is out there. And then the ego mind gets really rocking and rolling, and we have all these other things that come in. And as soon as we think we eliminate one, another one takes its place like that. And this is pretty much how things operate on this planet. No matter if we are conscious human beings or not, the mind is constantly judging ourselves, other people, this world, and anything that it can get a hold of. The mind was born with this master-like, judgeaholic power. It can judge anything in milliseconds. Now, many of us may not have realized this. We may not have realized it at all. Yet probably in the last 15 minutes, your mind passed 10 judgments on yourself, someone else, or something in the world around you as either good or bad. The judgments and the judgmental mind is perpetually busy working away at labeling life. And this workaholic is a slippery gremlin to catch. We are so accustomed to the mind judging everything in this life. It's as if we've been soaking our hands in warm water for 25 years, and we don't realize that it's completely wrinkled and about to fall off. So just to clarify exactly what judgment is the mind labeling something. It's the mind putting a label on something in our lives as either good or bad, but not both. It is a one-sided viewpoint of existence, which creates the illusion of separation and divides. Interestingly, judgment manifests only when we are living up in the head and are disconnected from our hearts. When we are living from the heart, the mind cannot judge. This occurs because the heart is free from duality, and the mind can only exist in duality. Seeing black and white. The heart cannot get hooked in whatever the mind believes is only good or only bad. When the heart is leading the way, we are free from the perpetual prison of the judging mind. And this is a choice. If and when we are to be free from judgment, we must drop out of the head and into the heart. The mind will quiet and become very still. From this space, we can watch our mind closely and see how slippery its judgmental habit is. We can see how it tends to avoid what it deems as scary. And the mind often believes that if I get what I want, this is good, then I will be happy. And if I get what I don't want, this is bad, then I will be unhappy. The more enlightened path, however, is understanding that in this great, divine, supreme, all-intelligent universe, we are going to get it all. We always, always, always get what we want and what we don't want. We might manifest a dream partner, soulmate, only later realize that they trigger our deepest, darkest issues and childhood insecurities to surface every day. Or perhaps we spend half our lives running in the great societal rat race, being devoted to striving, achieving big, luxurious dreams, and becoming financially free, only to realize later that we missed out on so many beautiful sunsets while we were indoors chasing some fantasy. Life always is both. We get death and birth. We always get both. And this polar opposite is inside everything that exists. The yin is contained within the yang, and the yang within the yin. In a pitch dark place, you will find particles of light. In a flooded white light place, you will find particles of dark. And the more often we practice seeing, feeling into, and accepting how we always get what we want and what we don't want in this life, the judgmental mind just drops on its own accord. We naturally start living everything in deep harmony with existence. We become vulnerable to existence again. And in this wonderful humility, we can feel the great perfection of life. We deeply accept what this existence is, the expression of the highest intelligence, and that the good and bad judgment plan is the smartest plan available from God to create a spiritual awakening experience inside every being on this earth. Now, here's a challenge for you. See if you can find a single situation, person, or thing of this world that is only 100% positive and does not also have the tiniest hidden negative byproduct within it. See if you can find a single situation, person, or thing of this world that is only 100% positive and does not also have the tiniest hidden negative byproduct within it. Now, if you think you found something like a new flower budding or an amazing sunset, just wait and investigate it a bit longer, as both sides will eventually show. There's always another side to the coin, as the flower will one day wither away, and the amazing sunset colors always fade into the darkness. We always get both. The rose always comes with a few thorns, even if they are small. So you have a choice to free yourself from the judgment habit. And you can do this. Just start looking deeper into yourself and accept any judgments you may have. Whatever they are. I'm too fat, I'm too short, I'm too ugly, I'm too poor, I'm too dumb, I'm too smart. I'm too much in my head. Welcome all the judgments you have about yourself. And just don't reject, avoid, or judge them. See them for what they are. They are one-sided judgments that you have about you. When you can truly see and welcome the judgment, it will have less energy and magnetic pull on you. In a matter of minutes, the contracting, hard feeling around the judgmental thought will lessen. Drop into stillness, and you will become truly free from it. As far as this welcoming process works, the secret or discovery is moving totally into the experience of judging. When we consciously are feeling only one side of the judgment, awareness grows within us. We cannot fall into that old judgment again so easily next time. We can see just how it impacts our mind, emotions, and heart. And when we remain in a one-sided experience of this life deeply and fully for a long time, something inside us will soon tire and then the judgment pendulum just swings to the other side. For example, you may feel and say that I'm never good enough. I cannot do anything right. After welcoming that judgment and feeling for 5 to 10 or even 20 minutes, something in you will exhaust itself, release the contraction, and wake up. This smaller, more enlightened aspect inside you will sneak in and perceive that on some level you are doing everything right and you are totally good enough. When you welcome judgment, the judgment pendulum soon swings. And this allows us to know what perfect peace feels like. Now, some people may think that always welcoming and acknowledging both the good and the bad in life is just some boring, fatalistic, nihilistic, uncreative path that only leads to a state of apathy. Quite the contrary is true. By learning to accept and welcome it all, we find that we are truly okay with everything that is and feel a more spacious quality within ourselves. We feel we have more time to develop our ability to expand consciousness and relax into our lives. And from this expanded space, we dramatically increase our manifesting vibration, we deepen our state of inner peace, and we become magnets for the most amazing life situations to occur. We will find that the welcoming process is extremely powerful simply because it leaves nothing out. It comes from a deep spiritual place inside us that is saying yes to the totality of our existence. We are just not interested in fighting, proving anything, or resisting life anymore. We're not interested in it. Instead, we move and feel totally fluid like water without resistance, force, or control. And in this state, it's so easy to realize that God is everywhere and in everything. It is this deep welcoming it's a deep welcoming mind that creates an enlightened mindset where we actually feel, see, and understand the divine perfection of this life. We become more interesting people as we stop wasting our energy trying to negate others, ourselves, or continuously be upset with the way life is. In a mind that is free from all judgments of ourselves and others, we naturally appreciate it all. We can see that the glass is half empty and half full at the same time. We can feel this infinite empty universe all around us, and also sense how the sun is always rising somewhere on the planet, sharing the radiating its brilliant light. Living in the enlightened mindset is like floating in a sea of orgasm waves of deep cosmic opening to joy. Happiness, appreciation, and ecstasy can actually waft through our bodies at any time. When the mind is not occupied with judgments, we have more energy to make more love, explore our spiritual nature, and taste the freedom that exists at the core of our being. When we can live daily in this enlightened mindset, everything inside us changes. All the previous pain we've been carrying seems to have mysteriously disappeared. We can naturally and fully relax into our divine balanced nature. And one of the most interesting aspects of all is that this judgment-free, enlightened mind is our most natural state. It is already inside us. It exists at the core of who we are, at the seed of our consciousness itself. We can only experience it directly, however. And when we have respect and reverence for the perfect balance that exists in everything, when we acknowledge the divine balance within every situation, person, coincidence, accident, belief, memory, and atom throughout this universe, we can open it up. We can open to it. The more acceptance we have that there's always good in the bad and bad in the good, something deeper inside us lets go, and we can finally relax into our deepest spiritual experience of this life. When the mind calls off the search for defining and redefining what's good and bad, we have an infinite reservoir of creative energy to surrender fully to our soul. This enlightened life, and that's exactly what it is not just about cultivating a deeper relationship with our mind. It's about getting beyond the mind. When we master our mind, we no longer live in fear. When the mind falls from its altar, we rise to the summit. As we learn how to drop into a perpetual state of surrender, allowing the greater intelligence of this universe to run the entire show, we see how every precious moment in this life has this bigger universal force behind it all. In seeing this, the mind totally gives up, and we realize that we have become the perfection that exists within everything. With enough awareness, we can totally stop the judgmental mind, habit, and wake up from the addiction. Then we'll know what real freedom is like, and nothing else will satisfy more than this freedom. This true freedom is free from all forms of pain. It is the greatest experience of this life. This means the mind can slip back into clinging to delusion and desire, and you don't. The mind might crave wine and yearn to be free, yet you know that you are the one behind it who is actually already free. You remain the watcher, deeply detached, liberated from the mind's antics. It's the greatest, deeply eternal love of all when you realize that you are not your mind. And the more we practice welcoming judgments, the easier it becomes to see the mind and how to be free from it. And when we can always see the good, the bad, and the balanced meeting of the two, then the struggle of this life doesn't matter so much anymore. The mind soon gets trained to only see balance and perfection. It automatically observes how the good is in the bad and the bad is in the good, and how these two worlds always collide. And there is nothing left but freedom. There is just the pure observer watching and witnessing it all. I'll join you in the meditation, and I'll return to close us out. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose. And an easy and slow breath out of the mouth. Be still. Wake up from believing this lie. The greatest lie is that we think is that we are some limited, time-bound beings who are not super amazing, all-powerful, and deeply connected to the greatest loving, healing source in this universe. Watch out for those thoughts, which make us believe that this limited, normal human mindset is real. Be hyper-aware of the part of your brain who thinks that is anything less than absolutely divine. All of these thoughts cannot contain the grand reality of what and who we truly are. They are temporary, time-bound thoughts, which are delusions and illusions of the mind. The truth is that is an eternal spiritual being who is capable of manifesting anything that can be imagined. We have the magical power to visualize, imagine, and invent any reality we wish to experience. Let this massive limiting lie completely dissolve away today. Let it be gone for good and return home to the truth that you are something far beyond whatever you believed you were with this limiting mindset. You are an eternal, omnipresent God being who is omnipotent, has omniscient abilities, and is infinitely capable of creating miracles. It feels so good to wake up each day and realize who and what you truly are. Take this with you for the rest of the day and the evening and night and the following morning. We will return here Tuesday, September 27th, 2022, 3 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation